Picture a world where power doesn't just reside in grand palaces or presidential offices, but in the intricate dance of finances and resources that keep authoritarian regimes afloat. This is a realm often hidden in plain sight, a place where the mechanisms of control tighten around the necks of entire nations, and where the fates of millions hinge upon the cunning financial maneuvers of a select few. So how do dictators maintain their grip on power? Let's unravel the threads of their income sources, a tapestry woven from natural resources, state-controlled industries, and a network of corruption that flourishes in the shadows of governance. Imagine a nation rich in oil or minerals, countries like Venezuela or Libya, where the very earth seems to weep gold and black gold. The leaders in these lands harness this wealth not for the benefit of their people, but for their own coffers, pouring the riches of the earth into pockets that are already dangerously deep. But it's not just about resources, it's about control. In most authoritarian regimes, key industries, telecommunications, banking, transportation, are not just regulated but dominated by the state. Dictators position themselves as the gatekeepers of wealth, ensuring that every dollar earned serves to bolster their power while stifling any flicker of dissent. What happens when such monopolies of power and wealth exist? The answer is simple. Loyalty becomes a commodity, bought and paid for with the very resources that should uplift a nation. Corruption is the lifeblood of these regimes, flowing through the veins of the state like toxic sludge. Dictators often engage in illicit activities, from drug trafficking to arms smuggling, exploiting the lack of oversight to create a lavish maintenance routine for their lifestyles. Think about this. In a world where law is a mere suggestion, what crippling weight does accountability bear on the shoulders of a dictator? Instead, freedom becomes a concept to those paying the price of ignorance, while the powerful thrive on the spoils of their rule. How do they manage to keep their financial ships sailing amidst storms of dissent? By wielding repression as both a sword and a shield. They monopolize economic resources, allowing for a redistribution of wealth that aligns with their survival tactics. By offering crumbs to the loyal and threats to the disloyal, they forge a bond of fear masquerading as stability. Ever notice how dictators seem untouchable, even in the face of economic chaos? The manipulation of data becomes their trusted ally. Polished numbers and favorable reports can mask the deep malaise rotting beneath the surface of their economies. And what about foreign aid and investment? Quite the intriguing dynamic unfolds here. Dictators often lean on international partnerships, weaving alliances with nations holding strategic interests. It's a transactional dance where stability in their regions secures the flow of funds. Sadly, these alliances, while seemingly advantageous, often entrench corruption and exploitation, sending local economies spiraling into despair. Now we must ponder this paradox known as the resource curse. Countries with an abundance of wealth often find themselves shackled by their riches. Wealth that should breed prosperity instead breeds tyranny. The irony is heartbreaking. Oil and diamonds can nurture and strangle all at once. Those resources generate enormous incomes that prop up oppressive regimes, while the population suffers from crumbling public services and environmental degradation. Imagine international sanctions thrust upon these dictatorships, a looming shadow over their financial landscapes. Yet, rather than capitulate, many leaders turn to smuggling, creating black markets that keep their empires intact. In the murky depths of these operations, they find not just sustenance, but a means of entrenching their power, using crisis to rally support by painting themselves as the heroes in times of despair, all while pocketing resources meant for the populace. The crucial role of economic power in sustaining dictatorships cannot be overstated. It's a ballet of balance, generating wealth while staving off pushback and dissent. This duality showcases the sheer complexity of governance in these regimes. As Fareed Zakaria noted, dictatorships in the last century often delivered economic growth more effectively than their democratic counterparts. But at what cost? So as we reflect on how these financial mechanisms weave a web of control, let's remember, they are not just about wealth. They shape destinies. Each income source, each corrupt deal contributes to an intricate lattice upon which dictators build their reigns, stifling freedom while reinforcing their grasp on power. In the end, it's a historical lesson on the balance of power, where economic strategies can nurture both prosperity and perpetual subjugation. As we step back from this vista, one question lingers. How long can such a precarious facade endure before it inevitably crumbles? Only time will tell, but the echoes of history remind us that no tyranny lasts forever, especially when it's built on the shaky ground of corruption and exploitation.